Bem-vindos, senhores telespectadores. Hoje estamos aqui no Jardim José Tocante com este duelo de ideias muito especial, especialíssimo, porque hoje é inaugurada a sinagoga de Ponta Delgada, restaurada a sinagoga de Ponta Delgada, e veio uma grande comitiva dos Estados Unidos. E calcula quem é que eu encontro aqui no Jardim José Tocante, onde o Conde de Albuquerque e o Dr. Augusto Ataíde convidaram a comitiva e algumas pessoas de São Miguel para assistir a um pequeno almoço e uma cerimónia lindíssima. Encontro aqui Joyce Rodrigues, que é uma senhora que vive nos Estados Unidos, toda a gente conhece melhor do que a mim, não é? Porque ela é a vossa conterrânea nos Estados Unidos e está aqui do nosso sangue, por isso é que eu quero que ela venha ao nosso programa e vai falar em inglês, que eu suponho que ela não domina já muito bem o português.
That's true.
Who is Joyce Rodrigues?
Oh, I am a resident of Fall River. I'm of Azorean descent. My great-grandparents are some of the oldest immigrants to Fall River. My great-grandfather immigrated in 1891, and we are all from the east end of the city. And of course, at that period of time, this was the height of the textile industry in Fall River. So my great-grandfather became a fireman. He was a boiler operator in the big mills. And he also had cows. He had cows in the east end of the city.
Of course, he had to. A man from São Miguel has always cows.
He did. He had cows. And my grandmother was the oldest of his 8 children. And she tells me stories of how she brought the cows to graze in Fall River at the Big Berry, which is now where the police station is.
A big change.
A big change. So we are associated with all that period of history in Fall River. My grandmother, who was Medeiros, the family name is Medeiros, she married into Rigo, and there were 6 children in that family.
All in America?
All in America. All in America. And
the women worked outside of the house?
The women worked outside the house. In the textile period, they were working alongside of men in the textile mills.
I understand you are studying that period.
I am studying that period, and I'm studying a later period for women who were working between the wars, mostly because that is a period when the textile industry had already declined. So families were facing the Depression. They also had children who were working, women working in the factories. This was a period in Fall River where manufacturing was at a height. And I can name a number of industries, and I think many of the viewers
Are you intending to publish a book about that?
The Fall River Historical Society is expecting to do that. We are conducting oral histories of women who worked in the factories.
Why that? Why women to work? Why not the man? Tell me.
At a later time, I think at a later time we'll consider men too. I don't want to...
The emancipation of the women of the Azores started in the United States.
The women were emancipated. Women were emancipated in the United States because they worked to contribute to the family. Everyone was working. Women were working. Children were working in the textile industry at the time.
So how come you went to college? That's a miracle.
That is, I am the first one in my family to go to college, and I became a school teacher because my mother and my father saved. They expected that I would be staying in school, going on to school, not dropping out. I was not expected to do that.
That was an exception between our immigrated families.
I think it was. I think it was to a certain extent.
Your father must have been a very intelligent man.
I think my father was a feminist. No question about it. My father was an only child, unlike my mother, who grew up in a large family. I believe my father expected me, since I am an only child as well and female, that I would be able to support myself, achieve what I wanted to achieve. I am convinced he was a feminist because he was the first one to encourage me to drive a car.
Of course.
Of course. Women in the family were not driving
Let's
cars.
hear his name because he's a very intelligent Azorian.
John Rodriguez.
Jean Rodriguez.
Jean Rodriguez.
John, because he was born in America?
He was born in America. His father is Agustino from here in Ponta Delgada in the parish of San Pedro.
São Pedro, os Agostinhos de São Pedro. And tell me something. You told me, you emphasized that you are Rodrigues with an S, not with a Z. Why?
Why? Because for Portuguese or for Missourians, Rodrigues in the United States, oftentimes we are perceived as being of a Spanish background or Hispanic background, Mexican Americans. So when I travel, if I'm writing my name, I'm very careful to make sure that we are getting an S on that and not that the.
So your Portuguese soul is still living.
My Portuguese soul is out there, and when people say to me, sometimes they say to me, they spell it with a Z, and I say, who are they? Who are they? And they say, well, those people spell it with a Z because they are not familiar with the Portuguese immigration.
Of course.
That's the situation.
You are a teacher for how long time?
Oh my goodness, I'm going very far back. I started.
So you taught. What college do you
I attended Bridgewater State College.
Which is where?
Which is in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. And for my graduate work, it was Boston University.
Do you have any teacher there that you admire more than the others, or not?
I have to say, in Bridgewater, one of my mentors was someone from Fall River who was of Italian background, and his name was Faust Fiore. So, actually it was Jordan. His brother is Faust, who is still a retired teacher from the Fall River public school system. And I think your viewers who are from Fall River know that family very well.
Of course, a good teacher is universal, as a universal mind.
Yes.
Make no distinguish between this nationality or that one.
Yeah.
And what do you think about your generation? What is the difference between your generation and your great-grandparents' generation in the style of living, the way of life?
Well, enormous differences to be sure. Considering the technology, I mean, we have, my great-grandfather had a coal stove, a wooden stove, and never drove a car. My great-grandmother was cooking in the house all the time. There was no restaurant.
That's what they say about my wife.
But, to be sure, there's quite a difference. And what I see today, coming here to the Azores and participating in this dedication of the Jewish synagogue, it's almost like a continuity coming back in my own mind to study my background and to study genealogy. And someone said, and I know you're a great historian, Burns...
Thank you. It's not true, but I like to listen to that.
Well, I heard someone...
I wrote a history of the Azores, I did.
I heard someone claim that when you're a historian, it's because you want to claim the past, and that's how you understand yourself.
Thank you.
And that's
it.
That's what history is all about.
It's all about.
It's reclaiming the past.
That's it.
In order to understand
ourselves
and to what has been lost, and certainly to bring that to the attention of students here in the Azores.
Could you consider living in the Azores, in San Miguel Island, since you are from San Pedro? San Pedro was the first parish ever in the city, so are you considering that to buy a house here, to spend here a month or two in the year?
I think this is fabulous. I think this is an opportunity. We still have relatives, The Rodriguez side is from Punta Delgada in the city, the Madeiras Rigo side is from Bretagne.
It's all over the island.
I'm all
It's
over.
the largest family in the Azores is Medeiros.
Is that right?
Yes, because the first Medeiros was linked to the mine of gold in Africa.
Oh,
So he came here very rich, very, very rich. And when you are rich, your children marry with everybody they want on those days. We are speaking about 500s, 1500s. So that's why your family, Medeiros, is the largest family in the Azores. Medeiros is synonymous of being Azorean.
that's amazing. I
That's
didn't
it.
know that.
Oh yes, you must be sure of that.
I did not know that. And you say they're from the immigration from that family.
They
is
came at first from Alentejo, and the most famous of them all was designated by the king to represent the kingdom in Africa in a mine of gold, a mina. We still say in Portuguese that's a mina. It's a very rich thing that you don't have to work very much to get money.
amazing.
It's a mina. The mina was the mina in Africa, because we on those days we didn't have yet discovered the naval way to India. So the coast of Africa has to pay for the ships and the men and all that. And when they found that a mina could be established there, they designated a very serious man that was the first Medeiros.
Now tell me that connection, because the village that my great-grandfather was from was Candelaria. Would that have made, was there something there that is significant about?
Candelaria, it's the name of Our Lady of Light, candles.
Candles.
So you have several parishes with that name, with different words. Nossa Senhora de Luz, Luz means light, Candelaria, and there are others. It's a very long village, not very near the sea, because the coast there is very high, so they had to work inside with a very mountain land to work, and very hard people, very smart, and they survived there without streets, without, the difficulties of those
Now
days.
were they predominantly agriculture in that
of
area?
course, yes, during many times, still now. 2 or 3 stores of commerce and a very nice restaurant. Rayon. Rayon is the best restaurant in the South Coast. You can go there, you will taste the food of Candelaria. It's a very good food. Sorry for being...
Now I have to take
commercial.
advantage of you, so I have you here now. Give me, since I'm mentioning all my family, a predominant number of them are from Bretagne, and I understand that connection is with Europe. It's
Yes,
Brittany.
there is no document proving that. But the ladies are very white, many are blonde-haired, blue eyes, and they speak a Portuguese different from the rest of the island.
Really?
For example, you say in Portuguese vento, which means wind, they say vento. Vento. In French, en, you read en. So you have vento, casamento, marriage, casamento. They say casamento. There are lots. For example, window, we say janela. They say fenestra,
Huh.
as in French fenêtre. So there are lots of small things that can prove that they are from French origin, but there is no document proving that French people came here. Our king on those days, Alphonse V, went to France and made an agreement with Louis XI of France, and changing places with our fishermen towards the fishermen of Portugal. On those days, São Miguel was being populated. There was no people here. So I presume, I have no proof of that, that accordingly to that treaty, the Portuguese king received the French from Bretagne, they were from Bretagne, and sent them to São Miguel. There is no other explanation about the name, because they are different people. They are very tough people, the toughest of the island.
That's interesting.
The leader of the Azorean movement for independence was from Bretagne,
Really?
José de Almeida.
Huh.
And he was a very brave man, a brave heart. He died some months ago, unfortunately, but he was a very brave man.
Well, I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much, and I know, and you tell me again today the extensive period of time of Sempre, the Igreja
Yes,
de Sempre.
the old document we have is Saudades da Terra, written by Gaspar Frutuoso, and he explains how Ponta Delgada was a very small village of fishermen and then became a large city. And he explains that everything began in São Pedro, the first parish that the bishop turned into a parish, because it was a small church. And then the city became, from there, developing and enlarging until today. It's the biggest city in the Azores. Joyce, thank you very much for this interview.
Well, thank you so much, because we have been amazed as a group. We hear it today in the Summer Palace. We're amazed at the reception that we've had, the planning that's gone into this event today, and the speaker who, the owner of the property,
Count
Count. All right, the Count. I got to get that right. Is the Count?
Is Augusto de Ataí. The name is Augusto.
I want to get that
Ataí.
right, because I would have not understood that. And he has spoken highly today of the American and Azorean connection, and the connection with all the faiths, the Catholicism and Judaism. This has been a point that was brought up over and over again on this trip, that this really has been a trip of friendship and continuation of United States and Azorean connections. So we're very happy.
Today is all Azores.
It's all very good.
You are Azores,
It's
I
all
am
very
Azores,
good.
we are
Yeah,
all Azores.
Exactly, and there's no getting away from that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Meus senhores, foi uma entrevista com Joyce Rodrigues, professora nos Estados Unidos, na zona de Fall River. Tivemos a honra de conhecer aqui na casa do Conde de Albuquerque, Dr. Augusto Ataíde, neste dia em que se celebra a restauração da nossa sinagoga, o único templo judaico ainda existente nos Açores. Até ao próximo programa.